Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. My video today is going to be an update on my composting worms. So I had done a video about 3 months ago in which I actually did my little unboxing of my composter. I believe it's called the Hot Frog Living Composter. So I actually took that out and installed it, set it all up, and then got everything going and put in 1,000 red wiggler worms from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. So anyway, it's been like 3 months. In that first video, I only had 1 tray of worms going. Now I am up to 2. I think I'm actually gonna need to buy like another set of trays so I can have 3 or 4 trays going. My worms are super healthy. They're super happy. They're thriving. They are reproducing like crazy. So today I'm gonna actually show you my little like routine when I feed them, what I do. You're gonna see so many eggs in my composter. It's crazy. I'm impressed every time I feed them. Like they just keep on laying. Apparently they will continue to lay eggs as long as they find that there's enough space. So anyway, in that first video I did about my worms, I wasn't really sure what I was doing because it was my first time dealing with this. So originally I had fed them like banana peels and fruit and vegetable scraps, kind of like big chunks of stuff. But I found that it took them a really long time to actually break that stuff down. So basically what I've started doing is feeding my worms a lot of fruit and juice pulp. That's like the bulk of what I feed them. I also do feed them coffee grounds. My husband drinks coffee probably like 4 or 5 times a week. So maybe like 3 of those times I'll actually save the coffee grounds, put them in a container, and then when I feed the worms, I'll give them those coffee grounds. I also feed them a lot of tea leaves from either making June or kombucha. So I've got a lot of green tea leaves and black tea leaves, and that stuff is really good for the soil. Tea has a lot of nitrogen in it, so that's really good to put back into the soil. So yeah, coffee, tea. Sometimes I'll give them scobies, like, you know, the cultures from making either kombucha or June, and they do seem to eat those pretty well. But then basically I would say every other day I make fruit and vegetable juice, so I have a lot of pulp left over. So I found that doing that is the easiest way for the worms to just eat things and eat it very quickly. Anyway, one thing I do when I do know I'm gonna be feeding the worms my juice pulp, if I have like apples or pears, I always cut the seeds out. I don't want any seeds actually in my compost. I don't think an apple tree would sprout in my compost bin, but I kind of just want to avoid that. So generally in my juice, I'll do apples, sometimes pears if I have them, but not that often. Generally apples, beets, carrots, celery, and then some type of green, so like kale, spinach. I also do put lemon into my juice just for my own health benefits, but when I'm actually making the juice, I save the lemons for the end, and then I'll take out that pulp first so that the worms aren't going to be getting any citrus. I was told like don't feed them any type of citrus, like it's too acidic for them. So the wormies do not get citrus. Today I accidentally put ginger into the pulp I'm going to be feeding them. Generally I don't put ginger into it, but today they're going to get it. So they're going to get a little zing. So we'll see what happens. Also, I would say every other time that I feed the worms, I'll rip up maybe 1 or 2 sheets of newspaper and just kind of add that to the mix. Okay, so anyway, here is the food that I'm going to feed them today. I juiced this morning. I've got some coffee grounds here from my husband today, and then I know on the bottom there are more coffee grounds. This container is pretty heavy. I mean, this is the juice pulp for like 2 days worth of juice. I always make juice like 2 things at a time for like the day I make it and the next, because I just don't like cleaning my juicer every day. So anyway, this is pretty heavy. I would say this is maybe like 1.5 quarts worth of food. So I've got all my fruit and vegetable pulp in here, again, without seeds. I've got the coffee grounds. I don't actually have tea this time because I have not brewed kombucha or June. All right, I'm gonna feed the worms now and show you guys like everything that's going on. All right, so here we are. This is my little composter, and this is my kitty Kobe, and she is obsessed with my worms, and she cannot figure them out, and she just literally will stand in front of this composter and just stare at it and listen and just do like the silliest things. So you will see I've got a little container underneath the composter that the cat is sticking her head into. There is a valve on the bottom of the composter to kind of drain this like compost tea. I've never had it leak, but I do put that container underneath just in case it were to leak, because we are renting and I don't want stinky compost tea all over the carpet. Okay, Kobe, should we feed the worms? Oh, let's feed the worms. Come on, Button. All right, and there's Miss Kimchi too. She's helping as well. So first things first, I'm going to take off the lid. Oh, what's going on in there, girls? All right, so you can see I've got tons and tons of worms just kind of hanging out here. So I'm going to set this to the side. Okay, so I'm just going to set that to the side, and the kitties will totally go crazy playing with that. Oh, here we go. Which one are we going to play with? What are we going to play with, girls? Okay. Oh, Mama, what is this? This is weird. Oh, we have gotten a worm. We've gotten a worm out of the tank. Uh-oh, could be. What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we got a worm. Uh-oh. Oh, Mama. What'd you find? What did you get? All right, so here we are in the top tray. Now, I probably fed them maybe 3 days ago, so there still is definitely food that needs to be eaten, but I'm gonna feed them again today anyway. So all of these clumps you see here, like all these little brown specks in here, those are all eggs. So if I dig into this, it's just so full of life and action, and these worms are just, they're big worms, they're small worms, they're baby worms, they're eggs. It's just crazy how much action I've got going in here. All right, so anyway, that's what they look like. Now for feeding them, I'm just gonna take this whole thing and just plop it in here. All right, so now all I'm gonna do to feed them is just kind of mix in this food. I've also got some newspaper here. I'm gonna rip up a little bit more and add. So I am wearing rubber gloves this time. I know in my first video I didn't, but I love my worms, but I got a little grossed out by not wearing gloves. All right, so these guys should be good for at least a week. Like I said, I fed them probably like 3 days ago. I had just given them some juice pulp and stuff. I'm going to be on vacation for a little bit here, so I am not going to feed them for like probably a week. All right, so I'm going to cover this back up. Now I want to actually take off this layer. There are going to be tons of worms hanging out, and I want to show you all the beautiful compost on the bottom. So this is the original tray I started with compost, and I think what's happening is a lot of the like finished compost from the top is starting to fall into this, because this is like rich and beautiful. And look at all these worms. I just want these things to migrate so I can put this compost somewhere. I don't want to have a ton of worms in my compost when I remove it. But anyway, oh goodness gracious, I have tons of worms in here. I've got some fat suckers down in here. So yeah, anyway, this is what it looks like. Pretty much all the food that I've put in this tray has been eaten and pooped out. The only thing you will kind of see are a few eggshells in here, like that's eggshell. I had put some eggshells in here probably 2.5 months ago, like very soon after I started doing this, and they never really seemed to eat them too much. They definitely ate some of them, but that's kind of the only remaining thing. So anyway, I've got this beautiful, rich, dark brown, basically black compost. This is going to be so great for springtime and starting plants and to put in my garden. Oh, I'm so excited. And also about the smell, this does not smell. Like, it doesn't smell like poop. It just smells like very earthy. All right, and here we are on the bottom. This is the last part of the composter. So all this liquid in here this is compost tea. It's very, very nutrient dense. Once it is not freezing outside, I will start saving this. I'll put this in a bucket and save it for actually like feeding my plants, feeding my garden. But it's February. It's still really cold outside. It's freezing. I don't want to save this. This stuff definitely does stink. This stuff smells like poop. So since it's winter, I have been dumping this. But once springtime comes, I will start saving this. And I think you just need to dilute it with some water. I think this is like a pretty concentrated form of like fertilizer. All right, so there we go, all good to go. I've dumped out the compost tea. It would probably take about 2 weeks to actually fill that thing up with liquid, but I do like to check it like every week. All right, my worms have been fed, the compost tea has been dumped. We are good to go. Alrighty, so there you go. That is how I feed my worms. That's a little peek into the trays. Again, as you notice, the top tray still had some food left from whenever I fed it like 3 days ago. I definitely could have waited a few more days, but I'll be out of town for a bit, so I want to make sure my wormies have enough food. Anyway, that bottom tray, oh, isn't that compost beautiful? It's so rich. It's going to be so perfect for when I garden. So I do think I will pick up another set of trays. They come in a 2-pack. I think it's like $35 for 2 trays. I think I'm going to pick up another set of trays in the hope that some of the worms will migrate to one of those trays, like particularly just that bottom tray. This is my main worm issue right now. I want to get them out of that bottom tray and go up to a different tray. Maybe I just need to like switch the location of the trays around. Maybe it's easier for them to go down than it is for them to go up. I really don't know. Also, another thing, when I was researching like how to take care of composting worms, I had seen that people were suggesting to spritz, like have a little spritzer bottle and spritz the worms with water. I have never had an issue with my worms being dehydrated. I've never added water to them. I think I maybe spritzed them once, but just seeing the amount of compost tea that comes down, I mean, that liquid is all originating somewhere. So I don't find it necessary to spritz any water onto my worms. That composter really does a good job of just retaining moisture. Again, I never notice any weird smells with the composter. The only time I smell anything is when I open it. It does just kind of have an earthy scent, but that bottom tray with like the compost tea definitely does kind of smell like manure. Super excited to see how my plants do this year with this beautiful compost. I don't believe I'm going to buy any plants. I think I'm just going to start everything from seed, either start some of my plants indoors from seed or just put seeds into the ground once it isn't too cold outside. So anyway, composting worms is a relatively new thing for me. This is what I've learned, you know, since I did my video. I feel like it's going very well. But if you have any tips on composting worms, please leave a comment below and let me know. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.